Hey, my friends, how are you? We started this Saturday early with free practice 3, the last opportunity for teams to make adjustments to their cars before qualifying. So, before anything else, only check it out if you're already subscribed to the channel, and if you're not yet, subscribe so you don't miss any details about the Formula One season. Oh, and if you like straightforward, no-nonsense videos like this one, leave a like to support our work. So without further ado, let's look at what happened in these final 60 minutes of practice with the track practically without grip again, due to rain that fell in the early hours of the morning in Singapore. And normally in free practice 3, the drivers haven't driven much since the main adjustments have already been made to their cars. And since this session is different from qualifying in the race, it's not worth it for the drivers to drive a lot and wear out tires that could be important during the rest of the weekend. Even so, we still have a lot of activity on the track, as some cars continue to seek the best possible adjustments, such as Red Bull, for example, which needs to resolve this car. With the time released, the drivers took a while to go out onto the track, with only the 2 Aston Martin drivers going out in the initial minutes. But immediately, we had a problem on the track with the activities being interrupted for a few minutes, fortunately not because of an accident, but because of a lizard that invaded the track and stopped right in the middle of the track, with the cars returning to the pits without even starting a fast lap. At 51 minutes, we finally had a red flag, since the lizard wouldn't leave the track at all, with the marshals having to chase the animal, with it showing how fast it is and making everyone who was watching laugh. With 47 minutes to go, the track was finally released, with most of the cars going out for their first laps in search of the final adjustments to these cars. And speaking of adjustments, Sergio Perez went to the track with a Flovis so that the team could better understand what is happening with his car and be able to make the best adjustment possible, since so far expectations are not good for these cars. On the other hand, at McLaren, Oscar Piastri said that the balance of his car was much better than on Friday, when these cars were the strongest alongside Ferrari. In this first half, the drivers trained practically only at qualifying pace, with times dropping with each lap, and curiously the Red Bulls doing very well, even though Verstappen was still complaining that the car wasn't doing so well in the corners. Exactly halfway through the session, Leclerc was the fastest, Verstappen was second, and Norris was third, with their times very close and Red Bull appearing to be back in the fight. And with everyone doing their first laps, exactly halfway through the session, Verstappen achieved the fastest time, with Norris in second and Hülkenberg in third, all using medium tires. After these first laps, most of the cars returned to the garages, with the track becoming clearer at this point, and some, like the Aston Martin cars, taking advantage of the calmer conditions to do their laps. Also, in this part, some drivers started doing laps on soft tires, with times dropping considerably and Russell taking the lead with a good time. With soft tires, Verstappen continued to have problems with the car, and his time was well below the leaders in this part. The McLaren cars continued to show great balance with these soft tires, with Norris in his first attempt with soft tires already taking the lead, with almost half a second ahead of the second-place driver. Despite posting interesting times, George Russell still suffered with his car. Now, he was making some mistakes during the session and going off the track, which shows that the car is strong, but a little unbalanced, which could hinder qualifying a little. On the final straight, everyone went for a few more fast laps to check that everything was okay for qualifying in a few minutes, taking all possible care not to damage the car and cause headaches for the team in this final moment. And after this final lap, Lando Norris was the fastest of the session, with Russell in second and Piastri in third. Verstappen took 4th place, Hamilton 7th, and both Williams cars were in the top 10. At the end, the stake cars were once again in last place, with Sergio Perez's situation not looking good, and he's at risk of not even making it to Q2 if things continue like this. Well, we'll be back shortly with coverage of the qualifying for the Singapore GP. Tell me in the comments, who's going to be in pole position, Norris, Leclerc,